And they filled this thing right up. So they filled this right up for the Bumblebee panel. So here we are, Seibertron.com has finally infiltrated Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con. We've not had much reason to make it into this room before. There's JC, or contact at Paramount. We are officially here for the Bumblebee panel at San Diego Comic-Con. Sorry for the whirlwind blur there. And I know none of you probably really care about this, but you don't get to see too many photos of actual Hall H. So I find it fascinating to finally be in here. This room is ginormous. The what? Hasbro who?
Hasbro Marketing.
Hasbro Marketing's here. Nice. Oh, is that Rayan over there?
I have this red here.
Oh, very awesome. Here we are, Hall H, and the Bumblebee panel will begin soon. These seats will be filled. People will be here to talk to us about Bumblebee. Just came off the red carpet event. It was a pretty cool experience. Did not get the pleasure of talking to Haley Steinfeld, but we did get to talk to everyone else that was in attendance. So, pretty cool experience. Looking forward to this as well.
How many Bumblebee fans do we have out here? We're really excited to have Paramount back, and we're excited for Bumblebee, and I know you guys are going to be too. And as you know, I'm going to say a couple things. Well, actually, just one thing. As you can imagine, there's probably going to be a few sneak peeks here. Joseph Faber, please don't record. We want to make sure that Paramount continues to want to bring us great stuff, and you know that they make great stuff. We want it back. So again, don't record, but feel free to let everyone know that you got to see it first and how cool and awesome it was. And with that, I think you guys are anxious and want to get to the Bumblebee panel. Yes. So let's get this panel started.
Two Academy Award nominations on this. Just want to make sure we're getting that right for the record. All right, so you had some work to do on this film before you things you have to incorporate into the design. But tell us how you chose to reshape not just the vehicle form of this character, but also just his robot silhouette.
Yeah, so coming from a background in animation, one of the things you start with nothing. You start with a blank canvas. You create entire worlds. You build characters. And one of the great things about animation is that it's, in effect, it's a distillation of feelings and ideas, thoughts. And so with the Transformers, I think anytime you have giant hunks of metal that are bashing into each other, you got to be very, very careful about how you approach it, because at some point it can be incoherent what you're looking at. It moves from seeing two giant robots beat each other up to two Radio Shacks reenacting the Kama Sutra. It's like you can't even tell it's a different movie. It's a different movie, one I'm interested in, but it's not this movie. And so I was a child of the '80s, so I grew up loving that first wave of Transformers. And for me, I thought it was magical. I thought it was wondrous. I'd never seen anything like it. And so for me, with a smaller cast, knowing there was going to be some high-octane action sequences where we have these robots smashing into each other, I wanted to make sure that at a glance, every single one of them, you could tell who they were. Every single one of them had to have its own unique silhouette, its own unique color scheme, so you always knew what was going on screen. And so with Bumblebee, he's our hero. We didn't start with a blank canvas. We have 10 years of films that come before this film. But because it's set 20 years prior, it gave us some liberty to harken back to that original wave of G1 designs, which I absolutely adore.
So what was it from the, here for G1? Yeah, that was muted applause, but that's fine. It's applause for G1. I waited a long time for G1 to come back. The cartoon, you mentioned being a fan of this original design. So what is it from the animation that you were able to incorporate? Because it's not exactly the same. Those were kind of blockier looking robots in the cartoon. But what could you take from that and work into the Bumblebee design for this film?
It's something of a hybrid. It's a modernization. I mean, Bumblebee, he's got a lot of moving parts, and it's a beautiful love story between these two characters, between Haley's character Charlie and Bumblebee. And so you wanted to make sure you didn't want to fear for her life every time she approached him, like her hands were going to get eaten up by all these gears and everything. So we definitely lean into that, the kind of the simpler plating of the G1 designs, while also bringing some kind of a modern aesthetic to it. So it's something of a hybridization of those things.
So your 2 Academy Award nominations come from animation. You're a fan of animation. This is your first big live action film. What skills from your previous work were useful here? What kind of stuff did you have to learn in order to take this project on?
Yeah, so I mean, they're not completely the same, but there is an analog between the different processes. I mean, we have the same departments, the process is much slower. You know, sometimes you chart, as you're making a film, you chart progress by page count. And so on a typical good week in animation, we'll do 2 pages of a script. On a decent day in live action, you'll do 4 pages of a script. So you see the kind of the speed difference. It's much, much faster in live action. But there is a huge component on any one of these big visual effects films that is animation. I think people don't think about it. They think, oh, it's visual effects, but no, it's animation. Bumblebee is an animated character. And so I approached our animators like you would approach actors, because that's what they are. Bumblebee has to give a performance that's as believable, as authentic, and as moving as Haley Steinfeld. So approaching it from that prism, really making him feel like an emotional creature, I do think it allows the audience to attach more meaningfully to this character and hopefully forge a more emotional connection with him.
So we've seen a trailer already, but the trailer keeps the plot basically under wraps. What can you tell us about the story of Bumblebee?
It's in effect, it's an origin story. I mean, in all the different iterations of the Transformers, from the comic books to the cartoons to the films, Bumblebee has always been the one Transformer with the greatest connection with people, with the most affinity for humanity. And I always thought that was fascinating, even as a kid. It's like, what is it about him and what is it about us that allows these things to connect with each other? This film effectively answers that question. It's an origin story. We find out who he was before he met us, and then his experience, why he becomes the character he becomes because of this journey that he goes on over the course of the film. And we really give us an opportunity to take a deep dive into this character and understand what he's about. And it's a way of looking at Transformers that I don't think we have before.
So you have certain elements of the story, but can we say he's alone? This is the Bumblebee story. There aren't necessarily a lot of supporting members of the Autobot team alongside him. What's he doing here on Earth?
What are any of us doing? That is the existential question. Why are we here, indeed? Yeah, you know, it's funny because I started to think about, you know, the experiences that our female lead, Haley's character Charlie, is going through, and the idea of adolescence. Because Bumblebee is always something of kind of like an adolescent character, and you think about those experiences that you go through in that time of your life, and that's sort of the framework by which I looked at this character. You know, we're always changing, we're always evolving, we're always trying to find our place, we're always trying to either fit in or stand out, and oftentimes we do feel completely, utterly alone. That was my experience in adolescence, and that was something, you know, channeling that human aspect in his character that I thought was kind of fascinating.
So one of the things I think we can reveal here is, you know, obviously he's visiting our world. Do we get to visit his world in this movie?
Yes. The idea of me being able to make a Transformers movie and not see Seibertron, I mean, come on. If they're going to give me the opportunity and the money to do that, I'm going to do it. So yes, we see Seibertron, and let me say, it is awesome.
So you get to do some new things, some new sides to that world?
Yeah, so I mean, again, it's a much more pared down, you know, cast of characters. It really is Bumblebee's story. We have a handful of other Transformers within the film, but you know, for fans of the series, you can come into this film not knowing anything about the Transformers and still enjoy it. But for fans of the franchise, the stories, the comic books, the toys, there are all manner of layers in this film that people can enjoy. And so, as someone who grew up loving these things, it was a field day. I felt like I was a kid who was playing with my toys just on a big stage.
All right, well, he's not entirely alone, though. I mean, he does have some human allies, and we're going to bring out 2 of the actors who play them. Haley Steinfeld plays Charlie Watson, one of the young gearhead who discovers this rusty old VW. And George Lendevard Jr., who plays her pal Memo. Welcome to Hall H.
Yo, what's up? How y'all doing? Y'all good? Hey, what's up?
about Charlie Watson? We saw a little bit of her in the trailer, but she's a young woman who mechanically inclined.
Very, very much so. Well, we meet Charlie Watson as your sort of typical misunderstood teenager, and she has experienced a major loss in her life, and she's constantly trying to basically find that freedom that she craves and fill that gap of loss with love or friendship or someone that understands her and sees her. And like I said before, she's craving this sense of freedom, and she sees that within a car that works. And she goes on this journey of finding that car and makes this unbelievable discovery that this car she ends up finding is not only a car. And then this beautiful journey of her and Bumblebee sort of begins.
Changes her life, but that's even before she realizes it's a robot. She thinks this car is going to change things for her, right? Where does she want to go before she gets involved with the Autobots and Decepticons?
Right. Well, she wants to sort of start her own life. She wants to be her own person. She wants to move on from any sort of negativity that's ever been in her life, and she wants to connect with what she's lost through this sort of escape. If that makes sense.
George, tell us about Memo.
Oh, Memo.
How does he know Charlie?
I don't even know. Memo is, I'm new to the neighborhood that Haley's character Charlie lives in. I think she's kind of cute, and I'm vying for her attention, and that kind of leads me into this great big Bumblebee adventure. I think she's a beautiful person, and I try to see Charlie for who she is. And that kind of just, you know, when you're a 16-year-old boy, you know how it is with the girls, what are your lead and stuff. You want to try your very hardest, even if it means going up against robot aliens.
What else is he into besides his neighbor Charlie? Like, what other kind of things?
I will say
fascinated by?
he had a Larry Bird poster in his room, so that's interesting. So he's a big fundamentals type of guy. GoBots. He mentions them, I think, in there, and he likes everything that we like. All right, you know, I think Memo really speaks to like the inner geek within us all. You know, the things that people might not think are cool, but you know that they mean something, and you know that they're special. And those are the same likes that I think Memo has.
I'll say this, we see Memo's bedroom, and I'm a little bit ashamed to say that it basically looked exactly like her bedroom. Shameful.
Haley, Travis said earlier, referred to it as a coming-of-age story. What does that mean for her, and what does it mean for Bumblebee?
Well, I think that, it speaks for itself. This is a character that is finding who she is and what her place is in this world, and finding her voice, so to speak, and so is Bumblebee. And they do that together, and it really is this beautiful story that just unfolds of friendship and heartfelt emotions. And one thing that was incredibly important to me and Travis was making sure that Charlie had, that the relationship Charlie had with Bumblebee meant something, and that it was exciting and emotional and everything you want it to be. And that all sort of falls into their coming of age.
What about Memo? Does he have a coming of age arc as well?
When you gotta fight aliens, you definitely turn from a boy into a man. That definitely happens. You know, obviously Memo is a very shy character, and through the arc of my character, you feel like that he develops more confidence in his voice and to be sincere to people around him.
Let's talk about the bad guys. You guys want to hear about the bad guys? So I think we have an image, if I want to put it up on the screen. Happy to debut this image in Entertainment Weekly. There's an element of it that we didn't reveal. Travis, do you want to tell us what makes these Transformers a little different from your average Transformer?
Right, so we approached the design of these two characters in the same way that we approached Bumblebee, but they had to be a little bit more complex. And so as you look at them, you'll see that they're maybe a little bit different than Bumblebee's aesthetic. And that's because they're triple changers. They had to turn into two different things in addition to being a robot. So they are muscle cars. So when you think about, a VW Beetle, if you could give a car a hug, you'd want to hug a VW Beetle. It's round, it's curved, it's wonderful, it's beautiful. a muscle car is essentially a perfect foil for a VW Beetle. It's angular, it's muscular, it's tough, which is things that we see early on that Bumblebee is not. But also, you know, Decepticons are aircraft. Come on, who we kidding? They turn into things that fly. And so with Shadow here in the front, the red one, she can also turn into a Harrier jet, and with Dropkick in the back, he can turn into a chopper.
So you can see pieces of that.
You can see little pieces of that in their design. For the design, interesting, this is super like deep dive geek stuff. For Shatter, I was inspired by the design. There's this robot ninja character called Nightbird in the original animated series. She was awesome, and that inspired so much Shatter's design. And with Dropkick there, the kind of the helmet and the shapes and the facets there were inspired by Megatron's design. So we're trying to fuse those things into this new modern aesthetic.
I'm just going to tell a very quick personal story. I have a 5-year-old son who loves Transformers because he saw the little G1s in my office. And so I'm like, oh cool, let's watch the cartoon together. And when we got to that episode with Nightbird, he's like, when we watched this, he's like, always wants to go to eBay to buy whatever ones we didn't have. He's like, can we get that one? The Ninja Robot didn't exist. You're bringing it back. I'm so glad.
I'm accounting, yes.
Well, there's another Transformer, another Decepticon in the story, and we glimpsed that character in the trailer, and a lot of people have been wondering who the Jet might be. Can you tell us a little bit about who that is?
Yeah, so I've seen some feedback, some chatter on the Jet. I'm going to break a few hearts here today. It is not Starscream. I know.
Oh, but it's better.
All will be revealed when you see the film. But you have to remember, Starscream has a very iconic design in Michael Bay's Transformers film. But you have to remember, going back to the original iteration of the Transformers, the Seekers essentially had the same design aesthetic. All the just all Thundercracker and Ramjet and all those guys. So this specific the flying the jet that we see in the trailer, that is a character called Blitzwing. He's super awesome, and he has that same design aesthetic as a G1 Seeker, and it was an opportunity to again weave that thing in while still trying to do something different. I think people are going to take it. I know you're a little disappointed, but he's still pretty awesome.
I liked hearing that it was Blitzwing. I've seen Starscream. I wanted to see Blitzwing. So there's more than just robot antagonists in this film. You've got a human who is also basically fighting all of the robots, but doesn't know the difference between good and bad. You want to tell us about who the human antagonist of Bumblebee might be?
Yeah, well, look, every good hero needs a good villain to go up against, and we have Bumblebee has
Welcome to Hall H, John. Like 7,000 people say that name all at once. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
John Cena! 7,000 people are also going like, yeah, but nobody's up there. I can't see anybody. But thank you for making me invisible and including me in this wonderful, wonderful panel. Hello, everyone! Man, I just got really excited real quick. That's how it goes with me, though. That's it. Let's go for another time. All right, great. So, what's going on?
All right, John, you fought some big guys in your time. You're going up against shape-shifting alien robots this time.
Yeah, totally qualified to do that.
What makes Agent Burns an antagonist? He thinks he's a good guy, right?
Yeah, this is where it gets awkward. Because I've been sworn to secrecy, and I'm not supposed to talk about stuff, but I see all these people out here. I want to explain myself. Why I think I'm right. I'll just say that Agent Burns knows that he's right. And that's the reason why he does sometimes the naughty things that he does.
How does he feel about humans who help these interlopers?
You know, Agent Burns is a complicated man. Damn, he looks good in his suit, though. I guess if he figures that if humans would help these things that he believes are not so good, he would also think that those said humans are not so nice.
Haley, how does Charlie feel about a guy like Agent Burns?
Oh, well.
She thinks he's awesome.
Just not a lot of respect for authority.
I mean, that was what I was guessing.
Well, you're not completely wrong. Right, well, this is good. I don't know how I want to answer this.
Yeah, you do.
There's a difference, I can say. So Charlie feels one way about Agent Burns, right? And there's the obvious, because he's trying to do something that she disagrees with and doesn't like and isn't happy with. So of course she's going to do whatever she can to stop him.
Yeah, but we all know that Charlie's like stuck in her ways and stubborn and an adolescent. He doesn't know a lot about life, and a guy with more life experience can be like, hey, I've been through what you're going through, and I'm kind of trying to teach you lessons and stuff. But I mean, what else?
What else?
George, how about Memo? He said he's the shy guy, and John is notoriously shy. I think he brings that to all of his characters.
Dude, it's intrinsic.
I mean, I feel like Agent Burns is one bad mother.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, I can't. Okay, that's true.
What are you talking about, Agent?
I mean, look at this guy. He's huge. Look at me.
The one person who
I'm not
watched
gonna
out.
fight.
That's a Jeff joke. That's good, thank you.
John and I are showing our age up here.
Yes, just want to say good luck. We're all counting on it.
Travis, do you want to say anything about Agent Burns?
He works. Agent Burns is a complicated man.
He is. No one understands him.
Look, I think that.
Second job.
Look, I think that you could definitely have a mustachio twirling villain as the heavy in the film. But I don't think those are interesting. I think one of the things I love about John's character is that he's gray. It's he actually believes he's right, and from some perspective, he's absolutely right. Look, if you follow the trajectory of the Transformers films, the Earth is not a great place in 2017 because of the Transformers' involvement with our affairs, and so he's not wrong. It's just a way of looking at the world, and I think that makes for an interesting villain.
Well, there's more to discuss. We're going to open it up for audience questions as well. But I think, Hall H, you wait in line all night. You've been here all day. You want to see some footage, right? You have some footage to show?
No, wait a second. That was only like the front section.
True.
John Cena expects more from you guys.
I hear all. This is my first Comic-Con. First time I've ever been here. 4.5, because then you have to remember, I've been in front of massive crowds of crazed fans, and all I heard about when I came to Comic-Con, I was like, it's crazy! It's so loud, you can't even believe it. And here we are, about to show you some stuff that we think is really cool, and you guys obviously want to see it. I think we should try that just one more time.
All the way in the back. Do you want to see some footage? John, is that good enough?
Yeah, that's great.
Let's. And that footage in hologram form.
Yes, we did. Who is that?
Optimus Prime?
Brian Pax?
He also had a different look, although he's only in hologram form, but that's a different design for that character.
Yeah, same sort of thing. It's like trying to, because it takes place 20 years prior to the first film, we can play a little bit with the aesthetic, and so I think that people will see in all the designs of the robot characters that we do harken back to the original design aesthetic from that first wave of Transformers.
Looks good to me. Well, let's open it up for audience questions. You guys have some questions you'd like to ask? First question, Mario and Luigi.
Hi, I'm Kaylin. And I'm Kyle. This question is for Haley. We both really love all of your music and movies, and I'm really excited just to be talking to you. And our question is, how do you balance your music career with your acting career?
Yeah, George did just ask me that backstage. Well, thank you. Nice to meet you. I think what I try and do is take everything one step at a time, because it can get to be a bit much at times. Right now I'm in the middle of tour. We're touring on the East Coast. I had a show last night and I head back after this for a show tomorrow night. But moment by moment, I'm so excited to be here with you guys and this film. This is the first time we've just seen all that, so it's all coming together and it's all coming to life, and we are so excited to have you guys a part of this journey with us.
Next question, please.
Hi, my question is, what would Bumblebee do if he had to fight a Transformer that looked like an actual giant Bumblebee?
That's a great question.
They ask the heavy ones in Hall H. Existential questions. How would Bumblebee battle a giant robot Bumblebee?
John, witticisms? Witticisms are failing me in the moment. John, you got any ideas?
Judging by my experience with Bumblebee, he's compassionate. And I think he would try to talk some sense into this giant Bumblebee transformer. Find out if this giant Bumblebee was indeed a good transformer or a bad transformer. And in gathering information, the Bumblebee VW Beetle would analyze the Bumblebee Transformer's strengths and weaknesses. So, if it came to a matter of conflict between the Bumblebee VW Beetle and the Bumblebee, I believe, in my estimation, the Bumblebee VW Beetle would reign triumphant because he simply tried to mend the fences by being peaceful.
Wow.
What the hell do I know? I'm the only dude in a suit at Comic-Con.
Let's take the next question.
Hi everyone, John Cena! What's up? First of all, I love the memes circulating around you, and
Wait a second, they're making memes of me?
yeah. Oh no, there's this
I've never seen these things.
like, knock knock, who's there? John Cena!
I've seen something like that. I have seen something like that.
I want to skip to my question. Do you expect to star in more movies after this, John?
The pressure is on. Jeez.
Well, the answer to that question kind of depends on you. If you enjoy the movie, and I think you continuously scream at the top of your lungs, John Cena! Then people will kind of want to be able to put me in more movies, so that would be cool if that happened. But if it doesn't, that's also okay, because I can still go back to being John Cena!
We'll always be John Cena. John, maybe another way of asking that is, do you have anything else on the horizon? What's in the works? What's in the works for you?
We always got crazy stuff going on. Everybody's life is busy. We're here to talk about Bumblebee, right?
All right.
Yeah, exactly. Let's focus on the now. Thank you, though, for the opportunity for a cheap plug, which I'll deny, because we're talking about Bumblebee. It's on December 21st, and everybody's going to see it. December 21st.
Hi, this question's for John.
What's it my way?
What's it like going up, what's it like transitioning from a hero like Ferdinand to a villain like, a cold-hearted villain like this, trying to destroy the hero?
So, good question. I couldn't help but notice you said villain and stopped yourself just to insert the words cold-hearted. A skosh judgmental and I'm a bit offended. But, in all totality, it's awesome. I've had a wonderfully successful career in the WWE, and I pride myself on kind of my character there, and I know that that's probably not going to evolve past being a good guy. Like, I don't know if I'll ever be a bad guy in the WWE. So it was extremely inviting to be kind of be gray in Bumblebee and believe that what I was doing is right, but be essentially a bad guy. So you guys will get to, I guess, all those WWE folks who are looking to see a heel John Cena, and that's inside baseball, a bad guy John Cena, we'll be able to kind of get a glimpse of that for Bumblebee. So I'm really excited about it.
something that wasn't there, like Bumblebee, especially in that scene, the garage scene that you guys filmed?
Well,
That's for you.
I mean, sure. It was definitely challenging, to say the least. Luckily, we did have a man on stilts in that scene,
We
particularly.
did. We had a circus performer who walked around on stilts to kind of basically give Haley a sense of what the physicality of a giant robot would be like.
Yes, he was great. At one point, he was like, his facial expressions were so, I mean, elaborate, because he was trying to help me and react with his facial expressions. It was an interesting time. But yeah, it gave me the sense of what it would feel like to have him around me. But other than that, it was a tennis ball and a stick.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think a lot of people don't necessarily appreciate that when you see an actor on screen with something that was generated in a computer, it's just ones and zeros, that in the moment, there's nothing there. And so Haley has to give a very believable performance with something that she can't even see and imagine what it could be. Now for me, from an animator's point of view, it's all in my head. I see everything that's happening. I see Haley and I see a robot there, interacting with her. But for an actor, I mean, it has to be an authentic, believable, emotional performance for us all to buy into it. And so I think it really is a testament to Haley's talent and the talent of the rest of her cast that they were able to kind of buy into this idea that there is this emotional creature in front of them when none existed.
This young man. How old are you?
Hello, young man.
7.
What's your name?
Alex,
Alex, what's your question?
what is Bumblebee's favorite song?
What's Bumblebee's favorite song?
Clearly, The Touch by Stan Bush. That's 30 years later.
Jerry Steinfeld isn't born in 1987. Next question.
Hi.
Ooh, a reveal.
I like that.
So, my name is Chloe, and I have a question. Do you think Bumblebee likes fighting / wrestling more, or acting?
Say the second part again. Does he like fighting? What's the second part?
Wrestling.
Wrestling or acting?
Bumblebee?
Yes.
I believe that was the question.
All right, great question. I looked at my man.
Careful with your words.
I looked at my man John Cena, who's the closest human analog to a giant, manly robot, and I think he can do anything. He can do everything. He's good at wrestling. He's good at fighting. He's very, very good at acting, which you will see in this movie, because John is a delightful fella, and in the movie he's evil. He's a bad guy. Shades of gray. And I don't know. I think Bumblebee. I think Bumblebee will surprise people, because in the previous films we've seen Bumblebee as something of a warrior, and he's great. He's great at fighting. But one of the things I'm most proud of in this film is how believable and emotional and authentic he is in the film. So that comes down to our animators who actually bring him to life.
We'll take one more question then. Yes, sir. How old are you?
12.
Oh, cool.
My name is Kian, and this question was for John Cena, but I can't see him.
Because here in the epicenter of superheroes, I'm actually a human who has mastered the power of invisibility.
So my question was, what did you like about Transformers when you were younger?
Okay, this one's easy. So I have 4 brothers, right? And we always had to struggle to have toys. And when Transformers came out, they were extra special because you got 2 toys in 1 toy. So I always was really protective over Transformers, because to have a Transformer meant you had 2 toys. And you have to understand, nowadays with all the technology, like things are super cool and fast, and in the palm of your hand, you have anything you want. But back when I was a kid, to have a toy change into another toy truly was more than meets the eye. Like, it was absolutely amazing. So to be a kid and to see this thing that you could only imagine be real, and then you could be creative with this thing and then change it into something else and be creative with it again. I absolutely loved getting 2 toys when I got 1 toy.
get to take away a special gift from this Q&A. I know you'll probably be sticking around for a few others, but there is an exclusive Comic-Con limited edition poster that all of you will get to take home. I think you'll be getting a ticket, and then you can redeem that ticket. Here it is. Very nice. And I think there's another question there.
I think we have one more question, actually.
Yeah. Excuse me, young man. How old are you?
People of Hall H. I have a question.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Peter Cullen. Peter, what's your question?
Travis Knight. My name is Optimus Prime. I could not help but notice my absence in much of your footage.
Well, I'm not sure there's a question mark there.
That's not really a question, in fairness. The movie's called Bumblebee. It's about Bumblebee, so it's really his moment in the sun, Mr. Cohen.
Well, in that case, what does an Autobot have to do to get his own movie?
Great question. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe we could showcase your emotional range. Why don't you show us, I don't know, joyful exuberance?
Rightfully so. I am elated to be here.
All right, I'm sold.